The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers is another episode of the ModernJeeper Show with me, Matson from Metalcloak, and Mr. Modern Jeeper, Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jesse.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so I need to know. It's snowing outside right now, okay?
It is.
So have you spun donuts in Funshine yet?
I mean, that's an idea.
I mean, you got snow, you might as well go
totally
do it.
do it.
Like, do it. Just have donuts and Funshine. I mean, I would be doing that all day.
But I don't want rocks all over my new fenders.
Just right out in the front on the street.
Yeah, right out the driveway.
I'm sure he would love that.
Yeah, we have enough snow right now that we got about 3-4 inches of this really light powdery snow, and there wasn't supposed to be any snow coming in. But it did. We're socked in right now, and they had a grader. There's a hill next to us. It's a pretty steep hill, and there's like 4 houses up on top of this hill, but it's a dirt gravel road. So yesterday I kept thinking, what is that sound? And there was actually graders going up and down that road, trying to get rid of some of the ruts and stuff. Typically every year a vehicle, a truck, a Jeep or something goes off that road, and then I end up walking over there. And over the years I've pulled a couple of rigs both out of the ditch and up the hill.
You're such a nice guy.
Yeah, but so it's good that they got that work done yesterday, because I think today would have been no bueno.
No bueno.
I would have welcomed the ruts at that point.
Yeah, right. They needed today. They're probably like, oh man, we kind of need the ruts.
Right. Yeah, washboard it, baby.
Right.
Does washboarding actually help if it's going uphill?
I thought washboarding was like a means to get the information you needed out of somebody.
Oh, yes, I like that.
I think it's called something else.
Then it says wash. So I wonder where I bet, because we were just talking about this, and we're going to talk about this. Might as well dive into it now. Like most famous words, right? The biggest words of the year. I bet if you go back to like, what would have that been? Early parts of the Bush presidency. If washboarding was the most popular word at the time.
Yeah.
Like, so now, and what is the word this year?
So we were having this discussion, and it came up in something, and the word of the year for 2023. Now this is according to Merriam-Webster, and their words of the year. Each year they publish this whole list of they determine the word of the year from an online poll. They look at analyzing its own page hits and also popular searches on the World Wide Web. So this year, very interestingly enough, because we've used it in the last couple of podcasts, the word of the year is gaslighting. And kind of interesting. And to give it some perspective, last year's word was vaccine. The year prior was pandemic. 2019, the word was they.
We're all trying to figure out what we should call people nowadays. So.
Yeah.
We need some help.
It's kind of an interesting little thing. And now each of these, this was Merriam-Webster's dictionary and like the Oxford dictionary, their word in 2022 is goblin mode, which I have no idea what that means.
It's like lazy people. There was some little excerpt that I saw that they were lazy and didn't want to do anything. That's what goblin
mode.
I'm going to go into goblin mode.
I thought that was like deep dark mode in your video game. Goblin mode. I'm going to go into goblin mode.
Right.
Yeah. Means I can lie, cheat, and steal and get away with it.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, I think it's interesting that there's a word of the year, and then does that say something about our society? And I guess it does, because people were wondering what the term gaslighting means. Now I'm wanting to see their whole definition of it. And according to Merriam-Webster, that word means it's a colloquialism, loosely defined as manipulating someone as to make them question their own reality. So.
Wow.
It's a thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that, we've talked about it in the last couple of episodes, And for, I guess, a lot of people are trying to figure out what that word actually means. And interesting. Does that say something about society? In fact, that they are questioning their own reality because people are telling them something that's maybe not really what's going on, and trying to get them to believe their own perspective.
It's like the Jedi mind trick.
Yeah.
In real.
Yeah. You don't need to see this.
This
you
is
did
the
not
way.
See this.
This is the way.
So, have you read Animal Farm?
Yes,
Okay, so
long time ago.
Yeah, George Orwell, Animal Farm. It is it's such a classic example of gaslighting occurring, right? And they go out there and they just say, no, we've always meant it this way. Well,
Right.
no, wait, the rules were X, and before the sign didn't say that. No, it's always said that, right? The sign has always said that pigs rule, whatever. It's always that. This is just the way you just misunderstood, right?
Mhm.
Well, but what I saw was him being a hero. No. What you saw was not him being a hero. What you saw was him fighting aggressively against us.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is that what I saw?
I thought I saw something different,
yeah.
but maybe I'm losing my mind. Oh, hey.
Well, maybe you are. Come over here.
Manipulation.
Yeah. But it so easily happens, and there are certain people who have just the that have the strength of will to overcome other people's beliefs, right? And you have friends, you probably have those people that go, no, I didn't say that. What I said was X. And you're like, I really swore that what you said was that if the Dolphins won, you'd give me $500. That was the deal. No. I said if the Dolphins won by 2 touchdowns, I'd give you 500, and they only won by 1 touchdown. So that's, and you go, no. Wait a second. That's not what I remember. But who has the strength of will is the person who overcomes, right? Right.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I think of it as a way to also. It is from the perspective of marketing, from sales, from who is influential in a certain topic, because you can have real knowledge of things, the way that they are and how they exist. And yet, if you're told by a quote unquote an expert or somebody who has more experience than you, one of your peers, something to that effect, you really can start to question your own way of doing things and thinking, man, maybe I don't know what I'm really, or I've been doing it wrong all these years. And we start to question ourselves.
Right.
And is this the year for that? The last few days have been really odd around the Modern Jeeper compound here in Colorado. We got rid of Dish completely. We don't have satellite TV, and so I kind of like it. We both like these documentary style of shows,
right?
And these in-depth reports or firsthand reports of things that we didn't they're not even more recent. I mean, last night we watched the thing about on The Price is Right that.
I had no clue.
Yeah, and it was a number of years ago when after Bob Barker left and Drew Carey took over, and one of the contestants bid the exact dollar value in the Showcase Showdown.
It's never happened.
It's never happened in the history of the show. And talked to the guy who he was very passionate about the show. He'd been on the show 32 times or something 36. Like that, 36 times. He memorized all of the prices of all of it. Like he developed spreadsheets in his spare time. And he was just that. He was a mathematical guy. So he knew all the prices of everything on the show. And literally he would sit in the audience and the contestants would turn around and look at this guy and he'd tell them, that's $5.99. And
he was like the Rain Man of Price is Right.
Yeah.
Since what, the 70s?
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and the price of the item would be $5.99, and it took him a lot of years. I think it was until his like 14th visit to the show where he actually got on stage. And he did well in the interim, but you spin the wheel and he only got 40 cents or whatever. Somebody beat him. But again, it's these documentaries that
they shed light on things that have happened in our past that I guess normally the media wouldn't pick up, which is really interesting.
Well, it's not a glorified story, right? It's just and what's cool is that there's documentarians out there who want to put these stories together. Yeah, and it's not about putting it together because I'm watching the one about Richard Branson right now. And it basically was done right before he took off on Virgin Galactic for the first time. So he decided to do a little documentary. It's like, I think it's 4 episodes or something about him and Nebuchadnezzar Island and all that. I've heard about this, and I knew how he kind of got his start. But it's a lot more interesting to look at things like, oh my God, he's had to rebuild his houses on Nebuchadnezzar Island like 3 times because of fire and lightning storms and hurricanes, and it's like, you look at this, go, well, hey, it's just, he lives, oh my God, he's a billionaire on an island. What a wonderful life. Yeah, well, it's not exactly all that, right? It humanizes a bit of it.
So Netflix is known to solve mysteries, I guess. So they pursue these people or things that have never been solved, and Netflix has been solving or giving light to some of the things and pushing those entities to look at unsolved mysteries. So another one we watched was about the killing fields in Texas. I had no idea. And I traveled up and down that highway when I was 19, 20 by myself. And all these things were happening. I had no idea. But now they have a ploy of
you were there at that time.
Out. No, I did. Yeah. So they're trying to have a ploy on this particular one for more information because they have a lot of no information to go on.
So the funny thing is, I just got a message. There's a website called Product Hunt Daily, and it's a way of launching digital products and all that. And I just got a message from them about this idea of mysteries and how Americans love mysteries. So there is an app you can download that is full of cold cases, and you can contribute to the cold cases by adding stuff to it. Like, you can add notes. If you have any interest or any data or whatever, you can put into the notes. It has like several 100,000 cold cases on this app, and you can put onto it. And they most recently actually had a cold case solved because of the information put together on this app.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's like it's a cool little thing. This whole idea of mysteries and stuff. So
this really plays right into our role as ModernJeeper, as a manufacturer. The value we try to give back to our followers and our listeners, and hopefully we do something somewhat related to the Jeeping and off-road industry. But it made me think of when you have a fresh start. So we're all familiar. Most off-roaders were familiar with what Pirate was back in the day and forum use. And we've talked about it in a number of episodes about how that data lives in these forums forever, and it becomes a source of information, whereas things like social media, whereas Facebook, those same questions get asked over and over and over, and we beat this kind of to death. When you start something from scratch, like we did with ModernJeeper Forum, there is no data. So as a contributor, to show somebody, we're all fighting for that attention, right? Every off-roader out there is wanting to show somebody their build, their Jeep, all of that stuff. And we do that with social media, and we just keep throwing up that information over and over again, trying to make some sense of it all. Whereas some of the successful, not necessarily podcasts, but websites, forums, they were the first to have some installation done. Let's say it was an S-Pod installation or something like that. That becomes kind of the hook to bring people in, and then people start going in there and they look for that information because it exists in a forum that is searchable. Can't stress it enough. We've gone back into ModernJeeper Forum. We're going to try to do better. We're going to try and make sure that the content is not only relevant, but it takes a village, like Jesse just said. If you have something so simple that we do this all the time. We go out in the garage, we make a change to our Jeep. Oh, did you take any pictures? No. Well, why? Because it was something so simple, like we don't even think about it, right?
Right.
And then it turns out that people are doing the same stuff, and we've become a society that without some sort of, well, the visual helpers, I guess, if you will, the YouTubes, that has become kind of what we're looking for. It can be something ridiculously simple. It can be splicing a wire, literally. How to use a pair of wire cutters and crimp on a little plastic connector. That kind of stuff, people go, I've never done any electrical. I hate electrical. And they go to YouTube or they do a Google search and they try to find out. And it's something so ridiculous that nobody wants to ask the question because they're going to have to put their flame suit on and people are going to light them up and go,
people are jerks.
Yes. You shouldn't even be on this forum if you can't splice an electrical wire. We have no time for you. Be gone.
Well, here's the thing that I saw yesterday is, the little knob on the left-hand side on some of the JKs has the L, O, or R knob that turns. Somebody asked what it was. Everybody flamed the poor person. He had no idea what it was. And it was never the right answer. And they got roasted because they asked a question they had no idea about.
Well, that was always the idea of the modern Jeeper, was that it was all for everybody, right? And for anybody. So, well, it's interesting because there are people like we've all gone to YouTube and looked up like, how do you do this? Or how do I rebuild this carburetor? And there's some dude, he just happens to be, he's not a creator. He's not like some guy trying to build 1 million followers on YouTube. He's just some dude in his garage going, yeah, so I need to rebuild this carburetor. I'm going to tune my carburetor on the, and here's how I'm doing it. And just kind of, he's got a little camera and he's holding it like this. And the imagery is bad and his audio's off because you can kind of hear him over, but it's helpful. It shows he knows what he's doing. And it's just an interesting inclination because I do the same thing, like whether it's cooking or other stuff, there's all kinds of things I do. And I'm also, funny thing is I'm very good at MacGyvering stuff. Like I can jimmy rig anything, right? I'm just really good at that. I just grew up jimmy rigging because I never had the right stuff or the right tools. It'd be something you could share. But after it's done, I kind of go, you solve the problem and it's all done and the problem's solved. And you go, oh shit, I probably could have videotaped that and shared it with other people, but I'm not going to go back and redo it for the camera. Right.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, it's kind of funny because you either have to have the full intention that I'm going to document my life and what I do, and I'm going to set things up so I can do that. One of our sales guys here, he's not with us anymore, but because he had some family issues, but he was he's really good with woodwork. And he had this idea that he could build a YouTube channel and work on doing woodwork. I mean, he was really good carpentry. He went one day, so how'd that going? I ain't doing that. It was too hard for him to try to do the camera work and show how to do stuff while he was also trying to do it. You just got to have that intention to do it and to share it, to learn. But we do so much ourselves that, and we forget to share it, and we forget to become educators.
It's too bad that social media has driven a lot of folks into, I don't want to be on camera. I could never do that. I don't have the professional lighting. I don't have a videographer, because we don't want to embarrass ourselves and we don't want to do something dumb.
Or somebody's going to be a jerk to us.
Somebody's going to be mean and say, I forgot this or whatever. So we don't want to, we don't allow ourselves you know what, we all make mistakes. That's how we learn. But, then it's kind of funny because then there's the absolute opposite of that. And then there's the channels that are all about people making mistakes. Now, those are a huge hit because we love to see people fail. It's funny that we don't want to allow ourselves, because it is a representation of who we are. It's amazing to me. I am not a mechanic. And I've just been very fortunate to be around a lot of really smart people and very good mechanics. And so, yeah, I've got to stand over their shoulder and watch them do things over the years. And you just pick stuff up and not knowing you can tear into something. And again, it's that we want to see the we don't necessarily know what we're getting ourselves into fully. But I saw somebody else do it. It's no different than watching it on YouTube or something like that, just to kind of get an idea of, man, I got a handful of shims and bearings in my hand. Is that right? Oh, yeah, well, he had the same handful of stuff. Now, what do I do with it all? So it's, I don't know. I think that we're in a very interesting time. I think that there's the Jeep industry, the Jeep information highway is massive. There is so much out there, and literally you can Google, how to do a brake job, and you're going to get 2,000 videos of a guy doing a brake job on a JK, all different. It's funny because none from any real mechanics, because that's their livelihood, that's their business, that's what they do, that's what they went to school for, they're trained to do it. It's going to be from every Yahoo that has a shop and a driveway. But
then again, there are also those shops that have decided that the way they market themselves is doing that kind of stuff. Like, here's how you do a brake job. By the way, you can come down and see us, or you can come in, but here's how to do it right. And they actually have produced and created their own popularity as a shop by sharing tech tips, right? We tried to do that with Cloakworks 4x4. I mean, Scott Arntz, our GM over there, is brilliant. And he understands those stuff, and it's very easy. I wanted to have tech tips coming from him, especially because he'll walk into the room and go, "God damn it, cool, man. Let's do it right. Let's actually teach people how to do the tip." And then once the camera goes on, he's like, well, you've got to, and like, dude, 5 minutes ago you were talking 1,000 miles an hour and yelling at me about why this wasn't done right, and people are idiots. Yep. That's what I want to film. I don't want to film you saying, well, you got to take the nut and turn it right, because on 1967 Jeep Cherokees, there is a nut that's gold and it should be black, and it's over on the left instead of the right. And if you don't do it, your transmission will fall out. I don't want to hear that. Right? Like, but it is funny. Now, I will say, like, from a pure educational standpoint, one of our most popular videos of all of our videos, I think I've mentioned this before, all of the videos that Metalcloak has, and we have hundreds of videos. One of the most popular videos is how to install a rivet nut. Yep. And the video is specific to how to install our rivet nuts that we provide for you on our kits and several of our body armor kits, and including using the tool we provide you. But tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people have watched that video to learn how to install a rivet nut, not quite getting an understanding it's specific to us. And there's comments like, "Oh, thank you so much for the hood," or, "Oh, it didn't work because they just went and got a nut and put a bolt in it, didn't realize it was a specialized tool we were providing." But that's the kind of thing people are looking for. They want to learn how to do this, how to do that. So it is an interesting time. I was listening to this morning, creators, whether it's in the media, podcasters, YouTube, or whatever, we're now consumers of information. And that consumers of information means that we're also more discriminatory as to where we get that information from. And it all comes down to sources we trust, because we don't trust mainstream media. We don't trust the TV show that says how to do something that really only is 20 minutes on how to do it. We're really only 10 minutes on how to do it, because the other 10 minutes is commercials, and the other paid placement, and the other 5-10 minutes is commercials in between. Doesn't really give us on how to do anything. And you don't actually learn how to do anything on Truck U. You don't actually learn how to do anything on those shows. They just show, well, we just installed this. Like, wait. What did you do about the brake line that was coming around the back side over there? Where did you zip tie that? How'd you put it? And how did you possibly get a tool up on that nut? Because I couldn't get a tool on that nut. That's right. They don't show you that, right? So it's it really is this interesting creative world in.
Well, we had this conversation the other day when you and I chatted. We're now in the situation where we have the entire knowledge base of the planet in our back pocket. So now we don't really need to know anything. And I think that's very unfortunate, and it's very telling as to what we're doing as we go forward. Because we carry these small personal computers called a phone with us, and we can do a search on the fly from anywhere we're at. We don't necessarily have to retain any information, and I think that's unfortunate. It's
How many phone numbers do you know by heart?
We were having that talk, and I think I know I think I know 2. I think I know my folks, and I think I know mine. I don't know Jesse's.
I had a yellow sheet of paper when I was in high school pinned to my bulletin board on my desk, and it had all my friends' phone numbers written on it, right? And I was pretty much guaranteed that if I looked at that all the time, I wouldn't remember it. But the one time that I went like, oh, what's Bob's number? And I dialed it from memory, I never forgot it, right? Because I learned it at that point. But when you always have it, you got to look it up and stuff like that. Yeah, you don't remember things unless you use your mind to force yourself to remember something.
That's right. And you and I, we've been spending a lot of time talking about a lot of different things: growing web pages, growing companies, how to make people, how to get people driven to certain sites, things like that. We're in the point now where we don't even remember website addresses. Look, QR codes kind of have just recently become more popular, but those have been out for a really long time, and people just were like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Well, now because of COVID, that was how you ordered food, because you couldn't see a menu anymore.
Right.
We're kind of being fed a little bit of this as it comes at us, and having to adapt and figure it out. We were talking about, I still use Safari on my Mac computer, and every time there's a new software update, a new version, I got to like relearn where all of my stuff went, because if I lose my bookmarks or any of that, what was I just looking at? I don't know if I remember. It was really important though, right? Well, it must not have been that important. It's a very interesting thing.
You said something earlier that I had to write something down. It's like, last week it was all about self-gaslighting, right?
Right.
But you said something, topic experts. I think you used the term influencers. And I actually think you hit on something. I don't think we have topic experts anymore. I don't think we really have true experts. We have topic influencers. Topic influencers are like that. That's what we see when there's a talking head on the radio or on TV. He's just a topic influencer. He's not really an expert. He's there as a person who knows, but all he's trying to do is influence us into his narrative about how to do things, right? Or what's important and what's not. And that's true everywhere. It's like, who are the people that you're going to, because the reality is any of us can be an expert on anything at any one moment, right? I just read a complete article, right, on how to dye kids' hairs. So I'm going to start doing that. I'm an expert on dyeing hair now.
Right. You just saw the art. I mean,
yeah, and I'll tell you, because I did that, I am going to call my PR agent. I'm going to get on TV next time they're talking about kids' hair dyes, and I'm going to talk about it because I'm an expert on it now. Because I read the article.
That was a big deal. It was a big deal when I was doing hair. Doing hair for 20 years. In the last 10 years, as YouTube has become very predominant on where we get our information and how we do things, everybody can be certified to do anything anymore on YouTube. So there were some big lawsuits, even as in doing hair, because people were doing hair out of their house because they learned it on YouTube. You don't have a license, you don't know the chemicals, it can be very detrimental. So we have this huge thing about state boards like, well, we should just give anybody a license, they can do it.
Sure.
But we have a lot of chemicals that can do harm on people. You have to know, we had to know body parts, we had to know stuff that nurses had to know just to do these services. And now we have everybody wanting to do hair. And people were advertising doing hair and getting paid for it, and that's what became a problem.
It's funny, and we were headed there. We talked about, there's a lot of people out there that they don't necessarily like. I don't know. We can. I'll even back up a little bit. Let's talk about Ford versus Chevy, or Dodge versus Chevy, or GMC, or. We all have an opinion about it, and not necessarily is it based upon whether or not we've had personal experiences with other brands, but you just may not like a brand. You may not like Ford for whatever reason that is. we watch news. We watch news based on somebody that we like to watch. What are they spewing? I don't know. But I just like to watch that person. That person becomes an entertainer. So as we talk about topic influencers and that kind of thing, they could be reading a script that somebody that is just absolutely horrible that we hate wrote. But how it comes across out of that talking head that's what makes the difference. People may not like listening to you and I and Jesse go on about whatever it is we're talking about every time we do a podcast. I get it. Some people do a really good job as an entertainer. Joe Rogan and Mike Rowe that you listen to on other podcasts, those guys were entertainers. They didn't start out as podcasters. They had a personality that allowed them, people liked them. It's no different than an actor on TV. It's no different than, it's you may not like Elon Musk or what he does, or Jeff Bezos, or any of those brands, or you may think that guy he's on top of his game and he's done a lot for things, and so you'll buy any of his products just based on who he is. He doesn't have to have any knowledge at all. You just happen to like him.
Yep.
Yeah, well, when Elon Musk comes out, with something new, I want it. I mean,
Right.
come on, I wanted the flamethrower. I just didn't get it in time. I just couldn't afford one for $2,000 and buy it within 30 seconds of it launching. I mean, holy crap! It's funny you talk about that. I wrote a paper in 8th grade. It was 8th grade. 8th grade. We had to do a report, and our report was on the media. And at that time, you had 3 major networks. And the report in 8th grade was, and we're talking like early 80s, guys, just to give you kind of a timeline, was who did the public trust more? This was the topic that the social studies teacher brought up to us. Like, go look at this and see who do people trust more? And you had to go through and try to figure that out. But even back then, I mean, that we've always had this thing, like, because who was the one? Was Tom Brokaw the one that everybody trusted? Right. So that when he talked to the news and he read the script, you trusted Tom Brokaw better, right? It's always been that way. We have this now where people have their fans, and everybody has a fan. They want to hear what Rachel Maddow says, right? You may think she's freaking psychotic, but there are people that can't wait to hear what she says about a topic, because that's going to be their narrative, because that's going to be how they're going to adapt it, right? We just understand that that's just how life goes. Now, it's interesting. On a totally different subject, there is a whole product called OpenAI. OpenAI is a program, this artificial intelligence program. And I was just listening about what it can do. And literally, like, you could go in, like, the idea of writing scripts, like, I think at a certain point, you're not going to have news writers. Like, they will simply use OpenAI. You can use OpenAI. You can go to it and say, write me a script in Tarantino style of Corey, Matson, and Jesse doing a podcast. It will take all this data that it has. It will look at everything. It'll look at past podcasts. It'll take it and it will literally write a script that you could read verbatim that is based on Tarantino's style. And apparently they took cussing out of it, so it can't cuss. But honest, based on the data that it's gathered, it's incredible. So at a certain point, there's going to be a whole blow up industry about this, right? Like, I should go to it and say, hey, OpenAI, write me an article about installing Jeep suspensions that uses all top keywords, and just let it write an article. Right. But you could also say, like, what is our nightly show? We're about to do a nightly news show. Okay. OpenAI put together the top media things that we need to do. And here's the things, right? And literally you could have a computer starting to write these scripts based on the news out there.
So it is so real. It is, we are already so there. I mean, remember the stories about, you could go shopping in a what is it? Is it an Amazon grocery store where you just put stuff in your cart? And then
walk in and out. Yeah,
you just leave
Amazon Now or something like that, or whatever. Yeah.
Even Adobe. So I use I love my photos and I love my software stuff. Their CC version of Lightroom, which I kind of like a little bit more control, so I use a desktop version of Adobe Lightroom Classic. But their CC version, I wanted to see, and because there's a lot of talk about the AI, it has the ability of sorting and keeping track. And you and I have had this conversation about, I've got 94,000 images in a catalog, and I spend most of my time looking for a picture. Well, AI, I sent 100 pictures up to CC. It literally has the file name on there, and you can type in, find me all the yellow Jeeps. And their AI is so good at finding images. You can type in green tint, and it'll go through all of your images. And if you have 100,000 images in your catalog, it'll go find you all the pictures of a green tint, or a face, or a shirt, or it's crazy. It's just crazy.
It is insane how deep it's going. And this is just a taste of it, guys. Like, we are so far from where this is going to be. We are so far from this. If you read the Foundation series, Isaac Asimov's Foundation series, and it actually gets into this concept of the development. Like, where did the positronic brain come from? Where did the true robots that can think and have feelings, where did that come from? And it was ultimately created by a robot that was, that designed it, because they built this incredibly intelligent robot that then goes and builds these things that allow more robots to be more robots. It's like the mother of all robots. It's like robot God, I guess. But that came about for an AI project. So the idea is, at some point, this is going to be like, our lives can be determined by, there's actually a software that I was playing with that will manage your time and your schedule and maximize everything you do. Like, literally, you just let it take over. And it'll tell you, okay, 15 minutes, you need to be here. Okay, you're spending to it. Like, it will just run you based on the AI that it has and the data it has, the information it has on your schedule.
Look at our watches with, you need to stand up right now. You need to move around. Doesn't Tesla have something in their cars now where if you're dozing off or something, it actually knows your head movement. If if you're in self-driving mode or something, like it'll vibrate the steering
wheel. Well, I think that's in a few vehicles where like if you just start doing this doze off mode, it'll like beep 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 beep.
Yeah,
try to wake you up.
So can you imagine, as it relates to our Jeeps and how we do things, we're just going to be able to sit in them and go, hey, well, we're so close to all of it now. I mean, play that song. It already knows how if it's cold, it's already adapting to whether or not it's hot or cold outside. Mm-hmm. All of these things, what are we going to do with all of our spare time? Because it seems like we're going to have all this extra time to do stuff.
I don't think that's true, because we were supposed to have a lot of extra time because computers gave us extra time, and then we were supposed to have less paperwork because everything's going to be digital. I mean, every prediction of that has fallen flat on its face. Let's face it. All we do is find more things to do. Now, if you're smart like you guys are, and you are ditching the boob tube stuff and just going for actually things that might be educational. There's one thing, because I'll tell you, the boob tube, that sucks away time. Mm-hmm. Reading good books, getting out and doing stuff, living life, people, living life. It's just that there's so much to do, so much of things. Yeah. It's interesting. I love your line though. There was a Jeep information highway. Like as a Jeep. Oh, I did write this down, and I think, and I get, this is important because it's probably a shirt. It's probably one of our next shirts. I'm going to start putting a logo, and we're going to put a logo, and it'd be a great meme too. You can just throw it up there. Somebody starts talking about something, and you just throw up this meme that says, boom, YouTube certified.
Boom. Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
It's just boom. Hey, sir, you are YouTube certified. Boom.
Yep. Thumbs up.
You must have watched Light Bright. You're YouTube certified.
There you go.
YouTube certified. I'm gonna form the official association of YouTube certified certified certifieds. Yes. I learned it on YouTube.
I'm mechanic certified.
I'm a YouTube mechanic. Yes.
YouTube certified. You're YouTube certified.
We have
some other things we're supposed to talk about. Like you guys are actually, if you can make it up over the hill, you guys are going to an event next week.
Yeah, we actually
this week. Is it this week?
If we do
this weekend, A2Z
Wow.
A2Z Overland is taking place in Bullhead City, which is on the other side of the river from Laughlin, Nevada. Bullhead's actually in Arizona. But first year event, typically we don't really do a lot of first year stuff, but it kind of plays into a lot of what we've been talking about. For us, overlanding is still fairly new, and especially for ARS. I mean, part of going out and being at an event and showing what Adventure Rack Systems is capable of. Again, camping isn't necessarily new for us, but the term overlanding, and we've talked about that, is even for us to go to one of these events and to see what is out there in the marketplace. How are things being used? How are people doing what they do? And we've been around a lot of people. We've done a lot of overlanding actually in the last couple of years, and we still come across stuff and you go, hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Or, well, that's a really dumb idea. And it's also funny too, because you can have two rigs set up very similarly, and each person is doing different things. It's how they envision their camping setup or their overnighting experience or whatever it is. So yeah, we're heading to A to Z Overland. It's like I said, we talked. It's snowing again here pretty good. We have to get over a couple of mountain passes to get out of the state, and so we'll start heading that way. Actually, we should already be there by the time that our followers hear the podcast. So hopefully we'll get some content up, and I don't expect this to be a very large show. I do expect it to be a quality event. I mean, there's some good people putting it on. Nitto's involved, and Mel down at Off-Road Evolution is involved. Haven't seen him for a number of years, so
come see us.
Yeah, come by and see us if you happen to be in the Arizona, Needles, California, Lake Havasu, south of Las Vegas area. Yeah.
In that general direction.
Somewhere
in that region, just come see us.
Yeah, and stop by, and it's supposed to be like 60 degrees, which is about 40 degrees warmer than it is here right now.
Wow.
Which would be I think it'll be good.
It'll be nice. Humidity. We won't have the humidity, so it'll be
now.
Great.
What rig are you going to have out there? Are you taking both?
We're actually taking both. Yep.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna take the Gladiator, the JT that has the original ARS bed rack on it. It doesn't have the new rack on it, but it has the square-sided one, and it's got again, the Gladiators are 3.5-inch game changer with the new springs. It's got some really cool features on the Gladiator, and then we're taking Funshine. Yes, the brand new build. Like this is the first time it's kind of come out of the garage and go anywhere. Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Debut, come see it.
What you need any graphics on Funshine? What's your graphics plan?
Not yet.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
So I have my ideas that I'll send to you.
Yeah.
But it's going to be big ARS kind of build. So.
Oh, cool.
They're working on it for me. We're going back and forth.
Speaking about big ARS build, you said that, and all of a sudden I thought of our buddy Curtis, and then the calendar. Actually, calendar is printing right now, so we should have it going live actually on the website for pre-order here pretty quickly.
Nice.
But we've got Curtis is in there. His picture. What was that? Where was that at? Was that Moab?
That was in Moab.
Yeah, that was great
the
shot.
one I took.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and then of course the Gladiators in there, and a bunch of great shots. So
and 100 events from all around the country.
Well over 100, yeah. I think it's like 120, 130 or something like that in there.
Yeah.
All hand typed in by me,
Yeah, we'll change that. I'm sure it's
no. It was fine. It turns out a lot of events. There's a lot of your major events and the repeat events that happen right around the same time.
Might be a day off or something.
And then there's those that just were like, well, you were last year, but I guess you're not coming back this year. Or then there's those that popped up for the new time this year, which, by the way, we have 3 skills days next year. We're doing one in April. We're doing one in April for the Jeep guys, doing our standard. And then May 20th currently is my plan for the first Bronco Skills Day.
Yay!
So cool. Bronco skills for our Bronco buddies out there. But yeah, so it's so the calendar's coming. But we also had a couple other products that just went live, including a new Metalcloak hat, a Patriot built beanie, the Adventure Rack Systems, the first ARS T-shirt is now live on the website, and the Metalcloak Hexagon Fire Pit,
which I love.
Yeah,
it's
the fire pit. The fire pit's awesome.
It's huge and it's heavy. This isn't like some lightweight solo
it's
stove.
More awesome than I thought it was going to be.
Thin stainless steel thing that's going to make you can pick up and carry around. Oh, it looks kind of cool and stuff. This is a beefy, like 18 gauge steel, raw metal. So you get that whole cool patina thing that'll happen from the flames and from the outside and the rain and everything else. And it's beefy. I mean, it's like, it is smokeless. So it has that same kind of technology that really give kudos to Solo Stove. They're the ones that kind of pioneered the tech on it. But there's so many other companies out there that do a Duraflame as it. And, so this is not one of those. This isn't just a knockoff. This is a Metalcloak design piece, and it's big. I mean, it's beefy. It's 19 inches in diameter. It can hold the big wood. It's really cool. Big old fire.
Big wood.
Yeah, I just said big wood. Big, solid, chunky, rough edged wood.
It's pretty badass.
and I hope that our listeners and our followers, you guys got to go check out metalcloak.com. There's a lot of stuff that is happening behind the scenes, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. I think like 20 plus items went live last week or something like that, which again, there's a lot of stuff in the queue, and folks need to be patient, but there's always new products coming out. And it's amazing to me that, you know what, Metalcloak has never been that, hey, yeah, here, buy this, try this. No, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So in order for those new products to come out, there's a lot of stuff that has been taking place. So everybody that thinks that, gosh, what's going on? They're just sitting back there having sales and nobody's doing anything. That is absolutely not the case.
And everybody wants, they want their thing that they're waiting for, right? And sometimes we get to it, sometimes you don't, right? All the JL suspensions are now out. There's so many of you guys have been asking for the JL long arm kits, right? So now we have JL long arm kits, full long arm kits, DB3 long arm kits. But you're right. If you go to our homepage, now we just did an update on the page on Tuesday of last week. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And so a couple of things are needing to be put back into place. Like there was a tab, a little icon at the top that said new. For right now, you go to our homepage and you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a bar going across. You'll see an ad for new products. Click on that, and that goes to a page that is all new stuff. I mean, this is all new products. So everything there that's been released, like usually I'm trying to keep it within 30 to 60 days. So if it's 60 days old, it's still going to be on that page. But it just keeps adding new stuff to the new page. And if you go to our homepage, you're going to see our list of Christmas items. This is our recommended Christmas list. These are things that can ship right now. They'll ship quicker than usual. And if you order anything on that by, I think it says the 15th, but it's probably the 16th is more likely. It most likely get to you by Christmas time. But it's fun though. It's fun grading new stuff. And the cool thing is like there's so many great guys in the industry. We were just talking about this, like we didn't even talk about industry updates and what's been happening, but the industry is changing so much with our friends being acquired. The most recent thing I heard talking to four-wheel parts stores, like four-wheel parts stores, which used to all be serviced by Transamerican, are now being serviced by Myers primarily, although they basically buy from the distributors for their products. In-store brands that were made by Transamerican have to be purchased through Myers. Like there really is no more Transamerican. Transamerican as a distribution company is gone. And now this four-wheel parts stores are buying pretty much from anybody. So now if you go into your local four-wheel parts store and you want to have your local four-wheel parts store do work on your rig, And we could get in a whole debate about the goodness or badness of that, right? Obviously, our authorized installer independent shops around the country are some of the best people you'd ever deal with.
Right.
But if you walk into a 4 parts store and you want Metalcloak, just ask for it.
Yeah.
Like, they can call us up and buy it from us directly now. Like, we never sold the 4 parts because we didn't want to be a part of
Trans. That was it was a whole different structure behind it. And
we will never sell to big distributors, or we're not selling through distributors. You can't buy us through Myers or any other distributors. But if you go in a local 4 parts store and that's your only option in your area, you want to buy Metalcloak, just ask them. They can call us up and take care of it. So it's quite a crazy world how things are changing because of these major acquisitions.
Well, and updates are coming. So I mean, it seems like, well, even from a technology standpoint, there was something that happened last week, and I went into ModernJeeper.com and I was going to put a story up, and I went to the homepage, and it was like there was very little information on it, and I thought, what's going on? And a lot of that behind the scenes updating stuff needed to get taken care of, and it's back up. There's new stories on there. There is a big button at the top in the main bar on ModernJeeper.com that takes you to the MJ forum. That's what it says, MJ forum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, folks that are looking for information, want to be part of the new kind of a new growth. You want to be one of the first people in. There's quite a few people that use the forum, but it needs help, and it takes a village. It takes the community to be involved in it. This is your chance to be a hero and actually be noticed in a forum. Really, you want to be a hero.
We want to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? And we, maybe we'll do a little program for this too, because we kind of did this before. If you've got a thread someplace else and you think it'd be valuable on this forum, you wanted like a build thread you did, maybe we'll do some contests, some ways of incentivizing people to move stuff over, because it is a big deal. But we do depend on the community to be able to create content that is interesting to people. And this is there is no judgment. This is a no judgment zone.
That's right.
A Modern Jeeper forum.
Yeah, we will deal with you appropriately if you go in there and be judgmental.
Yes, Philip Thorpe is the manager, the man behind. And if you haven't met Philip, he can go quite redneck on you. He'll go redneck on your ass. Don't be messing with him.
That's right. Yeah.
By the way, Philip's rig's finally going to get off of its jacks.
I saw where he's actually doing some work, and
he's got some work. We got some Raceline Wheels on his way to him. I also just sent him. He's on 4.5-inch coil or 5.5 inches. We just sent him some 4.5-inch coils and the rear long arm setup, because he's got the JK front long arm with the DB3 rear. So we're getting him hooked up with the rear long arm. Cool. That's good. That rig's going to be pretty badass when it's done.
Yes.
Well, and we are vowing to utilize it more. I mean, again, it's up to our community. If their community decides that no, they don't want to be any part of it, and it's it can't just be 3 or 4 of us in there talking to each other about ourselves and how cool our builds are. You guys have to make this work for us. So if we go down a period of time and it's not getting a lot of traction, well, we may change things. You just never know. I mean, again, but this is our Jeep community's opportunity to really showcase their stuff, answer questions, ask questions. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was doing a lot of forum stuff, and this was a long time ago. I mean, and yeah, things were different, but this is where we got our information. And I get it. There's a lot of places for information. And now you can help everybody. I mean, the forum is right there for you to use. It's easy. It doesn't cost you anything.
Calling you out. Get on the forum.
Yeah.
Calling you out, man. Well, awesome. Absolutely, guys. Check it out. ModernJeeperForum.com, ModernJeeper.com. And we really want to hear from you. We want to know. We really appreciate, by the way, all the comments on YouTube and all the feedback and stuff that you've been sending to us and the emails and things. But what is it you want to see on a ModernJeeper.com, right? Like there's so many different directions. And the reason we're bringing this up is because our 200th episode is coming up next year. It's going to be on January 12th. And as of right now, it's going to be a live event. So mark your calendars, January 12th. Mark off the whole day because I'm not sure what time it's going to go, but we're going to do a live event right here at Metalcloak World headquarters. Now, what that also means is it's a benchmark for us.
Right.
And we need to look and go, what's the future going to hold? Like, what changes are we going to make? And how are we going to make things better? And we need your input to do that. Okay, guys? So we appreciate all of you, but let us know if you have some ideas, because we know you do. A lot of strong opinions out there. What are your opinions?
As a matter of fact, even we've had some really good ideas that came up in some comments on the videos and some of our viewers. And believe me, those don't go unnoticed. I have a little list of things that where we could answer questions, during the podcast and things like that. Again, we need your input. We want your help. This is for you all. I mean, Matson and I have other things and Jesse could be doing something different. And if this isn't helping,
to do, I'm just bored.
If this isn't helping you all, and if you're not enjoying it, then let's talk about that. So again, we really appreciate the comments and the like buttons and the support that you guys have shown us. So, but we have to make some, it's a new year. We always use the excuse of, it's a new year, so we're going to change things up a little bit and make them crazy. Well, we may not. We may, if this is working for you all, we need to hear from you all. So please, I know it takes time to go in there and write a comment. I don't even care if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs
this is
down.
starting to sound like a Channel 6 nonprofit, like a PBS fundraiser. We really need to hear from you all.
I need some conversation, guys.
Bring to us. Let us know. We need to hear from you so we can understand what we want to do. Because we But there it is, folks. We love you. If you love us, talk to us. Tell us what you want. Otherwise, we may just say, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to go. We're going to change the name of this thing, and it's going to be. We're just going to be the what is this? Matson, Corey, Jesse, MCJ Experience. Yep, it's just be the MCJ Experience, and we're just going to sit around here and talk about people. Since we don't actually smoke pot, and since we don't actually drink hard, we're going to just talk about people who smoke pot and drink hard.
I like it. Yes.
Yep. Yes. It's all going to be like, it's going to be about, it's not going to be about whiskey and off-roading. It's just be about whiskey. And maybe you guys, then we'll talk politics on top of whiskey. Yep.
Whiskey and politics.
Whiskey and politics.
Sign me up for that one.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's like drunk history. This will be drunk politics.
That might be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Pelosi. What? Yeah. Great.
Oh, Lord.
All right, guys. Well, if you were playing the drinking game and based on me smacking my lips, well, it just started because I was coughing and I put a cough drop in. So you're going to get a smack or two. All right. Well, it's been another great episode. Anything you want to add before we wrap this thing up, Corey and Jesse?
No, I think we're good. Wish us a safe drive over to the other side of the mountain, and hopefully we can get you guys show you some cool content from the A2Z event. And after that, we're gonna roll over into the new year. We've got our big podcast coming up. Then it's Winter 4x4 Jamboree, and then it just
keeps going.
Adventures, they're coming online as we're talking, so you can register now. I think Death Valley is open, so keep all that stuff in mind. Share it with your friends, and hope to see you on the trail.
That sounds great. Well said. All right, guys. We'll have a great time. We'll see you next week. And like I said, we're getting closer and closer to Christmas. Hopefully you guys will have your Christmas list together. You can buy something before the 15th, and we will do our best to get it to you. And by the way, if it's something big, like a big suspension system you want to get for somebody, we'll send you a free t-shirt just to put under the tree if it doesn't get you on time. Okay. All right. Love all of you. And we will see you on the trails.
Cheers.
See ya.